It's Saturday night,
The kids are in bed,
which means we did it. We survived another week.
so let's talk about it.
From our latest homebrew project,
To kids' crafting projects.
it's just talking life with 2 young kids and 2 dogs. Grab your favorite beverage, sit back,
Relax.
and see where the conversation takes us.
Sometimes we don't even know until we get there. This is the Craft Parenting Podcast.
Hey everyone, welcome back to this week's episode of the Craft Parenting Podcast. Thank you so much for being here. Another week has flown by, and once again, it is Saturday and time to record another episode. My name is Joe Ludwig, and with me is my lovely wife and co-host, Caroline. How's it going, Caroline?
Hey, Hubs. Well, for the first night out of the last 4 or 5, I don't have to shield Clara from the apocalypse. So that's good, but people are still setting off fireworks. So Clara still kind of thinks it's the apocalypse.
She's on the couch and she's doing good.
I'm so proud of her.
She's not even under a cover.
I think Sunday night she actually did a lot better than I thought she would. Saturday night, though, was when she was shaken and terrified out of her.
But you're ruining the facade that we're putting on. I just said it was Saturday.
But I had to save Clara. Clara thought the world was ending. I couldn't not snuggle with her. So until you figure out how to let us record while I'm laying in bed and snuggling with Clara, such is life.
Well, I mean, we could record, but it's not going to be as high production value.
Yeah, because we're going to be right next to each other.
No, I'll just have to do it on the phone,
Oh.
with the recording app, and it'll be one track.
Why couldn't I just hold a microphone in bed?
Well, because...
Reasons?
Yes. That's not how this works.
Well, we're recording an episode. The kids are sleeping. Clara is happy. Zoe is in our bed, so she's probably ecstatic right now. That's most of our intro, right?
We have another great show planned out for you today. We're going to talk about our favorite soft serve places.
Ice cream.
And it's really hot out because it's July. I think the high today was 93. So perfect time to go out and get some ice cream, maybe a popsicle or 2. And additionally, Sunday was National Ice Cream Day. Did you know that?
I did not know that, which means I should probably eat more ice cream.
We should eat ice cream to remember that to punish ourselves that we forgot National Ice Cream Day.
Yeah, I can't believe that we committed such a travesty.
But it is National Ice Cream Month.
Ooh.
So
I still have time to stuff my face full of ice cream.
Yes, all the ice cream. So let's dive in and get started. What did we do this week, Caroline?
So this week, I actually got to knit, which I have not been able to do a whole lot since Elliot has been born, because usually I have a toddler on one side and an infant on the other, and then a dog on my other side. Because I have a toddler next to me, an infant in my lap, and then a dog super crammed up against my leg. But the infant likes to lay on the floor now and interact with toys.
He does.
So I can actually kind of knit things. So I started to knit a hat, and we met Laverne.
And who is Laverne?
Well, Laverne is your parents' new dog. They got a rescue. And so on Sunday, we introduced the kids to Laverne so we could make sure that everyone got along. Knowing that we weren't going to really see Laverne's personality for a few days because they picked her up on Saturday and we took the kids to visit her on Sunday. So she was still getting used to her new surroundings. We were told that she was about a year old and that she definitely was a coon hound. And she does look like a coon hound. But she is Clara's build, but Zoe's weight. So she's taller than Zoe and Clara, but she's a little bit heavier than Zoe.
She is the sweetest dog ever.
She is. She just wants to give you bear hugs and is like, pet me, love me. So we're not quite sure what's gone on with her. So then after we got the kids home on Sunday, while they napped, we reorganized the basement. Woohoo! Party! party, party. You don't sound as excited about this, Joe.
Yes, we reorganized the basement. My desk is now in a corner, which my coworkers now think I live in a jail cell.
Your desk was in a corner before. Now it's just in the opposite corner.
But there was stuff on the wall. And
Well, then you moved out of the corner where there was stuff on the wall.
not my fault. But we hung up my diploma. We hung up this picture that I randomly bought.
You fell for the algorithms.
Oh, dude.
Big brother got you.
I impulse bought a really nice map of Ohio that reminds me of it's like a Lord of the Rings style map.
It's pretty. I'll give you that.
Mm-hmm.
We just don't need it, but it's cute.
But it goes with my Ohio/Cincinnati theme corner.
Cincinnati themed is a bit of a stretch. It's University of Cincinnati themed.
Yes.
Everything except for that map is Bearcats.
Yes. He doesn't do cities. Otherwise, I would have bought a city map, like in a Lord of the Rings style.
Cincinnati would be super confusing, too. We have all these little suburbs and neighborhoods, and if you leave off the wrong one, you're in trouble.
No, it would have been just like the city of Cincinnati, not the suburbs.
So we reorganized the basement so we could move Joe to the other half to give Mom and Larry the larger half of the basement. Though Lily's playset is still on that half of the basement, so I don't know how much quote-unquote larger it will be. But we'll move things around next weekend some more when we actually start moving in their beds and stuff.
Wait, where's the lease playset going to be?
I don't know. We'll figure it out. Maybe we'll just ship it to your mom's house. Hey, Joe and Judy, here you go. Yeah, that's more of our preparation for our tenants who've officially started their change of address forms and will move living space in with us next weekend. And then we'll officially have to be out of their house on Wednesday because that's when the movers are taking all of their stuff that they haven't already moved out of the house.
Next Wednesday.
Yep. So yeah, 2 Wednesdays from now. So on Monday, I had to go back to work, which put me back on my normal Monday, Wednesday, Friday schedule, but I missed the kids. And then Elliot has been kind of rolling for a while, but he does not stay where you put him now. So you set him down and you have no idea where he's going to go, but there's like a 75% chance he's going to run into Minnie's flower shop. I don't know what it is about Minnie's flower shop. I don't know if it's just there because it does take up quite a bit of space, but he normally ends up rolling into it no matter where you put him.
And he really wants to crawl, right?
He does. He can get up onto his elbows and his knees, and he can kind of scoosh himself, he can scoosh his chest along the floor when he's on his knees, but he can't move very much yet. But he hardcore is I know I can get from here to there. I just need to figure out how exactly to do it.
My prediction is that he is going to be walking by 9 months. So.
I'll say 10 and a half or 11. Lily was walking at 11 months, or really close to walking at 11 months.
I think we can consider that walking.
Yeah, because she was for sure walking at her first birthday party.
I mean, it wasn't well walking at 11 months.
No, but she could get herself around, and she was figuring out that it was faster to walk than to crawl.
Yep. I think he's going to crawl for a little bit, and then, boom, he's going to want to walk, just like Sister.
Oh, yeah, because all he does is watch Big Sister and giggle at Big Sister, especially when she tries to give him a hug while he's laying on the floor, and she's just smoosh, and he's like, this is awesome. That is exactly what he says.
Yes. That's what he sounds like, too.
Yep.
So that brings us to Tuesday.
Yep. Where Lily showed me her new skill of walking up and down the stairs and turning on and off the light in the hallway. So typically Lily walks up and down the stairs along the banister, which is on the opposite side of the wall from the light switch. So she'll go up a few stairs and then she'll go back down to the second step. And then she'll scoot over and she'll put her hand on the wall and then she'll flip the light switch on and off. And then she'll go up and down a few more stairs and then flick the light switch off and on again. And she is a huge fan of doing that now.
She is. She's very interested in the lights.
Yep.
Maybe even a rave or two. We're super eco-friendly as well. Turn on all the lights, turn them off. Turn them on, turn them off.
Yep. when we're in the middle of all of this heat and everyone's air conditioners are going all of the time.
Yep.
So after Lily showed me her new skill, we met up with Mom at Sam's to get food and diapers and wipes. And we also picked up some counting cows for Lily. They're adorable. So it's 10 cows that you can cut in half, like that they come apart, and one half has a number on it, and the color of the cow is the same color as the number, and then the back half of the cow has colored dots that match the front half of the cow and correspond to the number on the cow. So like the number 1 cow is red. So all of the text, so the number, the 1 dot, and the nose of the cow are all red. So you can match them by color and by number. If you don't know one, you can match them by the other. And she likes to carry those around. And then I find half cows all over the house, and it looks a bit weird.
I think they're downstairs in the basement at the moment.
They are. She brought them downstairs and has not brought them back up yet. So maybe we'll bring them up tomorrow. And then after you got off work, we went to Putz's with the kids, which is a local ice cream shop that we will talk some more about later. And while we were eating our ice cream, I was like, "Hey, Joe, do you smell that?" He's like, "Ice cream?" "No, Joe, rain. It smells like rain. Look at the sky." And there were these big dark clouds over the expressway. And we're like, yeah, scarf down, rest of ice cream, and get in van. And when we got home, it looked like it was going to miss our house. But no, this storm was traveling the opposite direction that most storms travel for our area. And we got soaked.
Yeah, it acted like it was a tropical storm.
Yeah, because it went from south to north.
It kind of rotated.
Oh, yeah, it did rotate, didn't it? Were we told there was a hook? Was there a hook?
I don't know. I don't listen to the weatherman.
I don't really either. But we got home before it started to rain. And before we put the kids to bed, while it was raining, the power flickered. And we were like, okay, everybody's fine.
I think we are cooking dinner, right?
We were cooking dinner.
Something with garlic bread, because you're like, it's okay. I just have the garlic bread in the oven.
That probably sounds right. Did we have lasagna? No.
Shrimp?
Maybe. Oh, it was that shrimp thing. I made us a shrimp thing. That's right. I made a shrimp thing from scratch out of my head.
The sauce was from scratch. The shrimp were from Sam's.
Well, yeah, but they weren't seasoned shrimp. They were just plain shrimp, plain raw shrimp. And I turned them into a meal.
It was good.
Mm-hmm. So the power flickered while I was cooking dinner, but fortunately the only thing left was the garlic bread if the power did in fact go out. And then it stopped raining, and I looked outside, and it had rained so sideways that the complete backs of the chairs on the porch were wet. So normally if it rains sideways, the ground is wet, like the floor of the porch is wet, but this time it was the entire backs of the chairs. So like it rained super sideways. And then the power went out as we were putting the kids to bed.
I was in Lily's room. Yeah, and the noise machine completely went off. And we were in the dark room. Doesn't she have a night? No,
Lily does not have a nightlight in her room.
That's the noise machine usually.
Correct.
She made a noise like she was afraid, and then I think she just immediately went to bed.
You couldn't quite remember whether or not you had turned off the light in her room, like her lamp, before the power went out. We were pretty sure that you had. I was going to wait like an hour after the power went out to go up to her room and unplug her lamp, just to make sure that it wouldn't turn on at 2:00 in the morning and wake her up.
Because I looked on Duke Energy's website and they said your power will be back at the quick time of 1:00 in the morning.
Yeah, and we're like, well, I don't know how accurate that is. It could be more, it could be less, but we just put the kids to bed. So unless if they wake up because they're way too hot and cranky, we're staying here. We're not driving in the middle of a storm again. We have learned our lesson.
Well, it stopped raining at that point, which is weird.
It wasn't raining anymore.
I don't think it was thundering. It wasn't lightning.
No, there was nothing.
The storm was only an hour. It was like from 7:30 till like 9, and the power went out at like 9:30.
Yeah.
So something happened, I guess.
Yeah, so we got some flashlights out. We lit some candles. I was getting ready to do dishes by candlelight, and then the power came back on. So we were okay.
Probably about 20 minutes, right?
Probably. It wasn't super long that we were without power. 20 to 30 minutes at the most.
We have a bunch of milk for Elliot in the freezer.
Yeah, and that's we have to keep the freezer frozen Because once that defrosts, we can't refreeze it. And it's way more
Right.
than a day's supply of milk.
It's probably about a month's worth of milk.
Well, if all that he's going to drink is what's in the freezer, it's probably about a week. But like if he needs something to eat while I'm at work, could maybe make it stretch up to a month.
It's a good amount.
It is.
Yeah.
I mean,
You don't want that to go. You don't want that to defrost. I
No.
remember, I think it was with Lily. I think it was probably me. I left the freezer door open.
yeah.
Do you remember that? We kept all the milk in the freezer in the garage, but there was a little bit up
In the freezer
in
upstairs.
the kitchen. Yeah.
And I think the kitchen freezer was the one that got left open. So we lost some food and we lost some Lily milk.
It
And
was
like,
open overnight.
Yep. And we're like, okay, let's not do this again.
Now we have all of the milk
We have all of our milk in one freezer.
in one
So
freezer. Yeah.
keep it together.
Yeah, so 20 minutes isn't bad. I mean, it didn't defrost or anything. Food was good. We have a lot of food in there too, but you have a lot of food in the downstairs freezer too at the moment. But when the power goes off, you never know when it's going to come on.
Yeah. So on Wednesday, you learned some more information about Laverne.
Yes, I took the kids to my mom and dad's house. They're Oma and Opa's. And my mom's like, oh, by the way, Laverne is... Well, I was surprised because when I walked in, they called her Vernie, which I was confused because it sounded like Bernie.
Yeah. And we didn't mention on Sunday, they were trying to find new names for her and were thinking about calling her Lexi.
Right. On Sunday, they thought she was a year old and they were going to change her name from Laverne to Lexi. And then on Wednesday, when I walked in, they were calling her Vernie and I was really confused. I'm like, are you calling her Bernie? What are you saying? And she's like, no, Vernie, because we don't like Laverne. And I'm like, I thought you were changing her name to Lexi because we were texting and my dad approved the name Lexi. He was going to call her Scooby. I think that was his vote.
Which is the boy's name. That's like your mom wanting to call Buddy Simba. Like, maybe your parents just should not be in charge of naming pets. Leave it to the kids.
Right. So I was very confused. And my mom told the story about how she was going through the paperwork and she figured out that, long story short, she figured out that Laverne was 5 years old, not 1 year old.
Well, 5, maybe 6. Yeah, like she's...
Oh, either way, not even close to 1 year old.
Well, and yeah, and when we saw her on Sunday, I was like, I'm not quite sure that she's a year old because she's not really acting like a 1-year-old dog. She's acting a bit older.
Right, but maybe, I mean, I thought maybe like 2, like closer to 2.
Yeah, and we weren't sure how much of it was just she's definitely not out of her shell yet because all of her surroundings are new. But yeah, no, Laverne is 5 at least. And oh, hey, by the way, she had a sister named Shirley, but they were separated. So we don't know if they were a bonded pair. I'm assuming that they weren't a bonded pair if they separated them.
I think they were at a shelter and then a foster family took Laverne.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what that timeline is like.
Yeah. Well, so Zoe and Clara are a pair, but I don't think that they're a bonded pair. Like, they'd be bummed for a while if they weren't with the other one, but their existence isn't completely dependent upon the other one being there.
I don't know. Clara likes Zoe.
Zoe's indifferent sometimes.
Can one be a bonded pair and the other be indifferent?
I don't know. It's a good question. Let's not find out.
She definitely likes her family. She likes her humans. She likes her big sister, Zoe. And Zoe's like, I remember when I was an only child. It was a lot quieter.
So he's like, just let me lay in bed in peace.
But Zoe should not be complaining now because Lily had a snack today and it was peanut butter crackers. And I gave Zoe a really big mackerel of peanut butter.
Oh, yeah. Zoe's not complaining as much about Lily now because she does get some leftovers.
Anyway, but Laverne apparently is at least 5 years old. And that's a bit different when you're dealing with a 1-year-old dog versus a 5-year-old dog.
Well, yeah, and there are some people where they for sure want more of a puppy dog versus somebody who would want a dog that's like 5 or 6 years old. Someone that's a little more housebroken and stuff.
Oh, yeah, she's definitely housebroken, but she's really nervous. 5 years is a lot of history compared to 1 year. And apparently it's really a sad story. They found Laverne. I don't know about her sister. I mean, apparently there is a sister, but I know for sure that they found Laverne, and she was
emaciated, very thin.
She was very thin. They could count the ribs.
Yeah. Which, I mean, you can kind of do with Clara, but Clara is like very lean.
She's a healthy weight.
Clara is a healthy weight, but
Laverne was not at a healthy weight before she got to the shelter and then to the foster family, because I think the foster family might have taken her right away.
Well, yeah, so she might have some food issues as well,
and we don't know what kind of interactions she's had with humans.
Or with children.
Though my mom said she tends to favor males,
which is uncommon for rescue dogs.
She's very kind. She comes up to me. She loves to give bear hugs, like you said.
Yeah, which we're trying to discourage.
On Sunday when we visited, she stood over Elliot like she was protecting him.
Mm-hmm.
So, and she kind of looks like she has had a litter of puppies.
Yeah, she does look like she might have had puppies at some point.
So yeah, that's my mom and dad's new dog. They still have Buddy.
Mm-hmm.
He was born in 2008, so that brings him to
13 this year.
13 in August.
Yep.
So I think they're going to have their hands full, even if she's not a puppy.
We'll get to that later on.
Okay.
This brings us to Thursday, where check out my blog post. Joe should link to it in the show notes. I actually got to work on Elliot's blanket some. I haven't been able to work on it since, but I got like 6 rows of it done, which isn't a whole lot in the grand scheme of things, but it's better than nothing. And I wrote a whole blog post about it, so check it out. And then Thursday night was when the fireworks started to get a bit more intense, and Clara was definitely not a fan, so we made her and Lily a clubhouse out of Lily's pillow bed. It was adorable.
It was. It was Clara's safe space.
It was.
So then Friday was the beginning of this crazy holiday weekend, which is what it was, the 4th of July on Sunday. But I took the kids to my mom's house to hang out. I ended up working a half day.
Lucky.
Yeah, I do a weekend review, and once that's out on holiday weekends, usually they say log off. So I did that, and then I went to Listerman's after lunch to get a homebrew kit. That'll be our second homebrew that we do. We just have to find the time to do it.
Yeah, Clara did not give us any time this weekend.
Well, there was many reasons why we didn't do that this weekend, but I snuck in a drink too. They had their Irish cream stout on draft.
That's a yummy one.
Yes, it was okay. It wasn't like it was really dry and bitter, not really creamy. So I don't know what's going on with Listerman, but it was tasty.
And then I got off work and I went to go pick up the kids so we could all go out to dinner together. And Laverne is really out of her shell now. So Laverne tried to give me a bear hug when I came in the door and didn't really want to leave my side.
She doesn't bark.
She does not. But your mom said she had heard her bark that day, but it was only once, and it was at the dog 2 doors down the street.
Mm-hmm.
And it definitely sounded like a hound bark, but that was the only time she had heard her bark so far.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So I think it's just going to take some time.
It will. And Laverne is about as smart as Lily. So she had been given a pig's ear as a treat and had made a little bit of a mess with it. So your mom was like, we're going to make this go away now. So she cleaned up the pig's ear, put it in a paper towel, and put it in the garbage can, which their garbage can is motion activated. Talking to Judy, we end up moving around the house, and the pig's ear is in the middle of the floor again. Well, that's weird. Let's go throw that in the garbage. And then we're in the kitchen, and Laverne opens the garbage can because it's motion activated. All she has to do is rest her head on it. So I'm continuing to talk to your mom, and your mom decides, well, I'm just going to stand in front of the garbage can, because if I'm standing in front of the garbage can, she then can't get into the garbage can and maybe she'll forget that it exists. I don't really know what her plan was, but it just meant that Laverne came up around the side of her and opened the garbage can. So they're going to have some fun with that.
Maybe they need a new garbage can.
They probably do.
Because Laverne is as tall as the garbage can.
She is. She's pretty tall. So, because I mean, I want to say when she's like on her back leg, her like head can come up to my shoulder. Like she's got some length to her. She's not as big as Buddy. He's a lab like Great Pyrenees mix because he is white and floofy and big.
Yeah, but he is older and he doesn't
care about things anymore.
He's never really cared about things. I mean, when he was
except for chewing up your UC sweatshirt that I still have.
Yeah, when he was a puppy, he did puppy things, but then after he became a dog, he was extremely chill.
Yeah, he's always been a bit of an old man. But once we were able to load everybody up into the van, I met you at Taft's Brewporium with the kids, where we did not have a no-nap Lily this time.
Yeah, she was in a better mood. Elliot was in a better mood as well.
Yeah. So we had some pizza, we had some beer, and then we got in the van before anyone had a meltdown.
Lily saw the trains too.
She did.
Or just one train, I guess.
Yeah, she mostly just cared about the train that drove close to the Brewporium, because there are 3 sets of train tracks. One that branches off and goes away from the Brewporium, and then 2 that go right by it. And most of the trains branched off, so they were too far away for her to really care about. And then after we put the kids to bed, we watched The Bad Batch and Loki, where Clara freaked out and stayed next to you the whole time. And then I think you decided to put on The Patriot so we could distract Clara from the noises that sounded like gunfire by watching a movie filled with sounds of gunfire.
And cannon fire.
Yeah. I went to bed about a third of the way through that, though, because I was tired.
To be fair, I wanted to watch Independence Day, which I don't think is any better.
Is that the one with Will Smith and the aliens?
Yeah.
Okay. I have seen it. It's just been a very long time.
It's been a long time for me, too. It's not on any streaming service.
That's annoying.
Well, that we have. I think it might be on HBO Go. Is it a WB movie?
I'm not paying for HBO. We're cheap.
Yeah, or Hulu.
Yeah, so that was our first serious night of Protect Clara from the Apocalypse. We all survived, so that was good.
You and Clara.
Stay tuned in to see whether or not we survived the next night.
So Saturday, I woke up being the perfectionist OCD person that I am. I decided to deep clean the upstairs via the vacuum.
It needed it, though.
It did need it. I mean, it really needed it. We really need to get carpet up there.
We do.
I'm just dreading, getting stuff off the closet.
Yeah, getting stuff off the floor. And I'm hoping that we can say, here, let's do the upstairs and the stairs one day and then come back a week later to do the living room and the dining room. I don't know if that would be less painful or more painful than trying to do the whole house at once.
I think that it's easier just to do the whole house. I mean, our house isn't that big.
But is it easier for us? Because we have to get the kids out of the house and we have to move all of the kids' crap.
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know either. We'll figure it out.
I mean, they deal with families all the time, so whatever. It's just the closets. That's the big thing. The closets have to be empty on the floor. So I'm dreading that, but it has to happen because the wood floors are not working out.
No, they're not.
I'm kind of having thoughts about this room that we're in because Lily does throw food on the floor and I don't like it. And do we want to put the snap floor in? Do we want carpet just to get it dirty again?
We can get an area rug to put under wherever she sits. So after you finished cleaning the upstairs, we got some coffee. We went to Java Jackets, which was delicious. And then we went to Kroger for a quick trip.
Hey, I just wanted 2 items.
Well, we needed stuff. And everyone was cooperating. So we got a whole grocery cart full of things. Because at the very least, we had to get stuff for an item to share at the pool party we were going to Saturday night. And we were going to have Mom and Larry over on Sunday for a grill out for 4th of July. So we needed stuff to serve for that too. Because like we had hamburgers, but we did not have hamburger buns. So we got that stuff. We got some stuff to help us survive through the week. We got the dogs some more food. And then while the kids napped, I made all of the things because I made us some yummy banana bread.
I was very impressed by the number of things that you made.
I know, because I actually made banana bread. I think, was that like the first time since Elliot's been born that I've made banana bread?
Mm-hmm.
So yummy. We missed it.
I think I pitched, I don't know, a dozen frozen bananas.
We did have a lot of frozen bananas.
There's that meme. I don't know who needs to hear this, but you're not going to make banana bread.
But I do make banana bread, just not enough banana bread. I need to make it more frequently. So I made banana bread, and then I made some yummy roasted vegetables where I chopped up some parsnips, turnips, and carrots. And I marinated them for a bit in olive oil, garlic, paprika, salt, pepper, and rosemary.
Fresh garlic.
Fresh garlic. My recipe called for like a tablespoon. Well, it was, I went off script because I followed a recipe that I had vaguely remembered making a few years ago for these roasted parsnips, turnips, and carrots. And then I found a Parmesan roasted potatoes recipe in my binder of recipe printouts. So I kind of mushed those two recipes together, and my potato recipe called for like a tablespoon of garlic powder. And I was like, what? No. What? This recipe's for 2 pounds of potatoes. Now, granted, I probably made like between the parsnips, carrots, and turnips, it was probably about 2 pounds of veggies. I was like, that's not enough. But also, why would I use garlic powder when I have garlic? So in went 6 cloves of garlic, which I was told might have been a bit too much or was just enough by Joe. And then when we got to our friend's house and he had some, he was like, yes, garlic, yum, 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 yum. And he also would have approved of me putting a whole stick of butter into the recipe if I had so chosen.
Hey, you asked me if it was enough garlic, and I said, I'm sitting 5 feet, now probably 10 feet away from you, and I can smell it.
That was so yummy. So we went to the pool party. Lily hung out in the pool for most of the time we were there. She had a blast. She splashed everyone.
She did. She was fun.
Lily and Elliot were the only human children there.
Yes. Brian's friend, apparently her new hobby is fostering dogs.
All of the dogs.
She brought them all too.
Yeah, she brought like 5 dogs.
5 dogs, yeah.
One of them is her dog. Another one of them might also be her dog. And then it was 3 dogs that she was trying to find homes for. One of which she had recently found a home for, but the family was going to pick it up like the next day.
But 2 of the dogs were puppies, like puppies.
Very puppies.
So they were like maybe 8 weeks, maybe less.
And one of them was your kryptonite.
Yes. One of them was a husky or half husky.
Yeah.
Some kind of husky mix. I didn't really get to play with it, unfortunately.
No, we were too busy making sure Lily didn't drown in the pool.
But the whole point of me bringing up the puppies is that they brought a bed for the puppies, and the 2 dogs, they were running around because it's a big yard.
And we got there, we were the last people to arrive because we had to wait till after nap time to show up.
Yeah, I think he said you could come over after lunch or something, so like 1 o'clock. But we didn't get there until like 5:30.
Yeah. We were going to get there at like 5. We were only 20-ish minutes behind schedule, so I was very proud of us.
But the puppies were tired, and our friend was cooking dinner, and he's like, time for dinner. So Lily got out, and the dogs were sleeping in this dog bed. And they were doing this cute little dog pile thing. And Lily walked over to them, and what did she say?
She said, 1, 2, and pointed to the dogs, and then ran away. And then the puppies woke up and were like, oh yeah, tiny human. And then they started to run around again, which meant that they started to get into trouble because we were pulling out food, and they're puppies, and they're like, oh, I get up on table? No. Down from table, please.
Yeah, so our friend, his uncle owns a butcher shop, and so we got the finest of sausage.
He had like 6 different sausages for you to choose from, and some of the sausages had very specific serving instructions.
Yeah.
So if you were going to get like I want to say the Polish sausage was one that he had specific instructions for. So it was like, okay, if you would like the Polish sausage, these are the things that you have to put atop it. If you do not put these things atop it, I disown you. Because
He
they
didn't
are
say it like that.
It was heavily implied. But, I mean, no one was complaining because he makes very good food.
It was really good. And then we brought the vegetables. Someone had like is that pica dip?
I think it was pico dip. Pico de gallo.
Pico dip, yeah. But I had it because I'm familiar with it from Stephen and Hillary. It was slightly different because they had itty bits of avocado in it, and I ate the avocado.
I'm so proud of you. And I missed the pico dip because I totally would have eaten that.
I think that's what it was.
It probably was.
There were beans in it though, which Stephen isn't a big fan of the beans, so I don't think they do that.
Yeah.
But it had corn and avocado and all these things, and there were chips on the side, but I just ate it with a fork.
I'm very proud of you.
What else did they have?
Graham made peach cobbler. It was very yummy. Graham is very good at making desserts.
He did something I never heard of with the whipped cream.
Oh, yeah. They made brown sugar whipped cream, which is apparently you just take your regular whipped cream recipe and add brown sugar to it. I don't know. It was really yummy. Like, I could have just straight eaten that brown sugar whipped cream and been a very happy camper. Graham is super into desserts, and I am super here for it.
Yeah, and then as everyone pretty much cleared out after dinner, no one went back in the pool, which we were okay with.
We're all old now.
Well, it was 4th of July, and there were fireworks to be had.
Yep.
But of course, we have 2 kids, and both kids decided that they needed to go to the bathroom. So
because they're great.
So our departure took a little longer. I had to change everyone's diaper, and we brought a pack and play. We brought the kitchen sink, essentially.
How else am I supposed to keep Elliot out of the pool but for a pack and play?
Right. So I changed their diaper. I had to collapse the pack and play. Someone had to watch Lily because there was a dog there that she was perfectly okay with going up to, but the owners were like, no.
Well, they weren't very comfortable with them sharing space because it's a rescue dog, and they weren't sure on the dog's history with children. And sometimes, they were the ones that said this, sometimes that dog can be an asshole, and they wanted to make sure that Lily was safe.
So, of course, when you tell a toddler not to go somewhere, where do they want to go?
Exactly there.
So that was like a full-time job. So
yeah. So I was keeping an eye on Lily.
And then we had to pack everything up. And then as we were leaving, fireworks are going off. And
Lily is interested or intrigued and not super stoked about it.
Wasn't even close to dark yet either.
No. So it was just like you'd hear the loud bang and then you'd see smoke in the sky.
I could see some color.
Maybe a little bit of color, but not a whole lot. Because it was still super bright outside.
Yeah, it wasn't anywhere. It wasn't even dusk. The sun had a good 45 minutes before it went down.
Yeah.
But we were concerned because if they were setting off fireworks at Brian's house, they were setting off fireworks at our house. But I think before I left, I put on the radio really loud.
Yeah, I had turned on the radio before we left. You had turned on the radio on Friday before you left the house, and then I turned on the radio Saturday before we left the house.
And I'll be honest, I really thought Saturday was going to be the day where people went nuts with fireworks.
Saturday was when Clara was shaking between the two of us. Was that Saturday or was that Sunday? What's today?
That was Sunday.
Oh, that was on Sunday.
Yeah, we were in the Mister.
Yeah.
It was pretty intense, but it wasn't as intense as Sunday. And tonight, I don't think anyone's doing much.
No.
We could hear them every now and then, but I was surprised. Saturday was okay. We watched The Sandlot with the volume up really loud. The Sandlot is a good movie. It reminds me of the 4th of July in summer.
Yeah.
Even though there's only one scene where they play baseball and there are fireworks going off. That's like my summer movie. If there are Christmas movies and summer movies, I would say this would make the summer movie list.
For sure.
Let's see. We also watched Soul.
That was a cute movie.
Or did we watch half of Sandlot? I feel like we started in the middle.
We started to watch Sandlot Friday night, and then we were both starting to fall asleep, so we stopped watching it.
Okay, so
and
that's
we finished
right.
it on Saturday.
So we got home, we put the kids in bed, we watched the rest of Sandlot, which was probably half of it. And then we watched the movie Soul, which is a Pixar movie. Came out during the pandemic last year, 2020.
It's on Disney Plus, and it's super cute. Joe needs to finish watching it.
Yeah, and I fell asleep during the important parts.
You did.
Apparently. Jamie Foxx is in it, and also Tina Fey.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy from the IT Crowd.
Yeah, Moss.
With the big hair.
Correct.
The fro. So that was our week. Very busy week. So now it is time for What's Bugging Caroline in Children's TV as I go refill my mug of beer. What's bugging you in children's TV?
Per usual, we're watching Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, and it's Mickey's Fishy Story, which why it's titled Mickey's Fishy Story when the whole thing is revolving around Daisy's pet fish, I don't know. But we're looking for a friend for Goldie the goldfish to swim with, who is one of Daisy's many pets. Because if you've been keeping track, Daisy has like 5 or 6 pets and only really cares about like 1 or 2 of them.
And did she steal them all from Pinocchio?
No, so Figaro, the cat, is Minnie's. Yeah, Figaro does make some appearances in Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. So we're looking for a friend for Goldie the goldfish. So we're going to go to the waterfall in the jungle to see if we can find a buddy for her to swim with. There are many problematic things in this episode, one of which is that they don't have a map or know how to get there, but they just kind of leave and start going. So that's great to teach kids. But also, they use a handy crane to get Goofy unstuck from a stump. And the handy crane is not operated by Mickey. It's not operated by Donald. It's operated by Coco, the coconutty monkey. The monkey is driving the handy crane. Where is Osha? How is this safe? Like, I know all of the characters in Mickey Mouse Clubhouse are animals, but there are obviously levels of animal as far as like human intelligence versus like pet with more intelligence than a normal pet would have. And Coco definitely falls more into the pet spectrum than the person spectrum. And I do not think should be driving heavy machinery. Like maybe just no.
For sure, there are different levels of animals
Yeah.
in the Mickey Mouse world because Pluto is a dog and Goofy is a dog.
Yes, but they are like 2 totally different kinds. And then there's Bella the dog, Clarabelle's pet, also a dog. But continuing on, once we ignore the fact that a monkey is operating a crane, we get to the waterfall and we find a seal, a hippo, and a goldfish swimming in the water under the waterfall. So hippos and seals don't live together. Seals live where it's cold. They live in the Arctic and Antarctic, whereas hippos live where it's warm. Because they live in the actual jungle, which is where we are. We're going to a waterfall in the jungle. And then there's a goldfish as well. Okay, I guess I'll give you that one. So we're like, oh, sweet. We found friends for Goldie the goldfish to swim with. But they won't fit in Goldie's bowl. That's okay. Goldie's just going to jump out of her bowl into this little pond, lake-ish area to swim with all of her friends. And then she'll come back into the bowl. One, like, do they not care about the temperature difference between the bowl and the body of water that Goldie's going to jump into? Because I was told that you have to care about that a lot when I had a bunch of goldfish. Granted, the goldfish did not survive that long, but I also had a very cheap bowl and too many goldfish probably. There were lots of things that were problematic with the goldfish that I had. But like Goldie should not have really come out of that situation for the better. And that's even skipping over the fact that once you release a goldfish into a body of water, like you're not going to be able to get them back easily. So maybe don't teach your children to release their pets into the wild. Because that's why we have anacondas taking over Florida. They have no natural predators.
Burmese pythons.
Oh, sorry, pythons. Yeah. Don't release your pets into the wild, kids.
Anaconda.
I thought it was.
It's like that movie, Anaconda. devil's advocate about this episode. The seal is a recurring character on Mickey Mouse.
The seal is a reoccurring character.
I think I don't remember a hippo. So that's a little weird.
Yeah, the hippo was a little weird.
But the seal is a reoccurring character. It's also in classic Mickey Mouse. If you go back to like the 50s and 40s, there was like a short where Mickey and a seal cross paths.
Yeah, it was.
That's the exact same seal.
Oh, yeah, it is. And at some point, Mortimer the Mouse shows up. There are a few reoccurring characters that are from, well, there are a few characters, whether or not they're reoccurring depends, that are from like old school Mickey Mouse cartoons.
I noticed you have an adult beverage. What are you drinking?
So we went to Brink and I picked up some Crowlers while the kids napped in the car the other day. And I picked up some Too Old for This Wit. It is a 5.2% zero IBU wheat beer, and this highly flavored Belgian ale with crushed coriander and clementine zest create an elegant perfumey bouquet of aromas and flavor. Light straw in color and body, finishes medium dry to dry, dense white moussey head.
This is not something that I would usually get.
I like it. Do you like it?
It's different. It's not like, what is that Sam Adams beer that I like? That we were talking about the other day.
The winter wheat? The cold snap?
Cold Snap. No, that's a wit beer, I thought.
We're drinking a wit beer.
Well, this is different because it has coriander and clementines in it, right?
Yeah.
So that they added something to it. But yeah, it's like that, but it has something extra in it that I couldn't really place until you said coriander and clementine. I do like it. I mean, it's not a bad beer. It's just nothing it's not something that I would usually get. I will say that this would have been perfect after I cut the grass today.
Yeah.
This is a really good summer beer.
So I did not read any of the descriptions of the beers that I got. Well, 2 of them we had gotten before. And so I knew what I was going to get myself into. But this one I was like, ooh, wit. That means it's a white beer or a wheat beer. We like those usually. Let's get that. So I got it and I like it. It's yummy. It is pretty dry.
Yeah, that's kind of what's throwing me off, the dryness. Kind of like a white wine, kind of.
A little bit. I can see that.
Yeah. Cheers to the weekend, and Lord help us in the week ahead, because starting tomorrow, we're going to have to do it all over again. More crazy adventures are ahead, and we will make sure to share them with you each week right here on the Craft Parenting Podcast. Now it's time to move to our main topic, which is we're going to talk about our favorite local soft serve ice cream places.
These are not all of the soft serve ice cream places that we go. These are just the main ones, usually due to proximity to our house and or places that we frequent.
Yeah, so I follow this parenting magazine. I think it's Southwest Ohio Parenting or something or other. And they did something similar, but it was none of these places are on this list.
Well, they're wrong. So let's just start off with that. Ours is better.
Yeah, so these are all West Side places. For some reason, soft serve is very prominent in the Cincinnati area.
Well, yeah, I go to, now granted, it's newer neighborhoods in Indiana. When I would hang out with my cousins in Indianapolis, they didn't really have any soft serve places to go to.
They didn't really know what it was.
They didn't. Well, they're from Columbus. And I don't remember riding our bikes to any soft serve places at their old place in Columbus either, because we used to bike all around their old neighborhood.
Yeah, so I don't know what it is about Cincinnati, but we have a ton of soft serve places.
We do.
So with that, let's go to the first one.
So the first one is Putz's Creamy Whip. It is the oldest one on this list. If it's not the oldest one in the city, I don't know. More research could probably be done about that. So Putz's Creamy Whip has been around since 1938. It started on Spring Grove Avenue in a pair of trolley cars by Constantine and Anna Putz, who were husband and wife. They had originally been selling their pies and baked goods from door to door, and so then they opted to have a more permanent location of these 2 trolley cars side by side on Spring Grove Avenue. They added hand-dipped ice cream within a few years when their daughter Gertie and her husband, Ray Earhart, joined the business. And because Cincinnati, business grew despite the cars being flooded constantly and World War II being a thing and really kind of crashing the economy. So they closed for a short while in the late 40s because Constantine's appendix burst and he became very ill. But Gertie and Ray, so that was the son and the daughter and her husband of people who started it, reopened their Putzes in Price Hill and did okay in Price Hill while they were looking at a location to make their own. Ray wasn't sure about the location, quote, down in the hole, end quote, but Gertie insisted, and they built their new stand at the bottom of West Fork Road and Montana Avenue in Mount Airy. So if you go there, it literally is down in a hole because it's at the bottom of two big hills. So it does fit. And soon after they opened that new location, they purchased new Electro-Freeze ice cream machines, one in 1954 and one in 1955, so they could serve soft serve ice cream. And they say they are still using those machines today, which to me just seems a bit crazy. But if you keep stuff running, it's okay. As long as you can find replacement parts somewhere or make them yourself. There was a hiccup in their history. In 1971, there was a plan to build this all-new interstate highway called I-74, which was slated to go within 3 feet of their back door. And then backtracking. So typically soft-serve ice cream joints are a smallish standalone building. I think the footprint for one is usually about half the size of our house. So probably 200 square feet or 400 square feet at the most.
Our house is 2,000. This is probably 30 square feet.
They're relatively small. They're probably going to have the same footprint as a Dunkin' Donuts or a little bit smaller than your standard Dunkin' Donuts.
That's enough to hold 2 people.
Yeah, because it's enough to have a window or two facing wherever it is that you're taking orders and giving people their food.
It's way smaller than Dunkin' Donuts.
And a door in the back for all of your goods and people to come through when they work. And then you have enough space for your freezer, your fridge, and whatever equipment that you need to make your ice cream. They're very small. They use space very economically because they don't have a lot of it. So the expressway was slated to go within 3 feet of their back door, which is the only entrance to their place. Other than, okay, we can climb in and out of the serving windows. How do we bring in gallons and gallons of milk? Who knows? So they wrote to President Nixon and received word back from the U.S. Department of Transportation that the government was going to revise the plans to move the highway a little further from their back door so they could keep their location. So originally their stand used to back against an orchard, so you could sit in the orchard and eat your ice cream. Well, now you have to go to the side of the stand, which is a field, and you have to eat your ice cream in that field.
Interesting.
Yep.
Putz's is probably the one soft serve place that we've gone to the most since it's so close to where we used to live.
Correct.
I
remember
where our parents currently live.
Yeah. I remember going there all the time with my parents. We'd go there, and then there were a few other shops we would go to as well. But Putz's was usually the one that we would frequent the most. We took your sister there, her last day of school or something. We had picked her up from school and took her to get ice cream or something. We would take her there every once in a while.
Yeah, growing up, we didn't really go to soft serve places. We went to UDF a lot, which is not soft serve.
They have soft serve there, but they're more hand dipped ice cream.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So when we go there, we typically get soft serve with sprinkles or a dip top. All of these locations have a multitude of soft serve options. So you can get your traditional ice cream, soft serve ice cream with a dip top or sprinkles. They'll do sundaes, they'll do shakes, they'll do flurries. Sometimes they'll do ices.
And they have actual food too.
I can't remember whether or not Putz's has actual food. I think they do.
And they're cash only, right?
As of right now, yes, they are cash only. And that might be, maybe they're always cash only, and that's why you always ask me if I have cash when we go get ice cream, but the other places we go to are not. For the recording of this episode, I got a twist with a crunch top. So a twist is chocolate and vanilla ice cream swirled together, and then the crunch top is peanut pieces, rainbow sprinkles, and some crunchy bits. It was really yummy. I normally don't get crunch tops, but I might start doing that now. And then Joe got a twist with a chocolate dip top, which Lily helped him eat. She was pretty adorable.
She was excited.
She was.
So soft serve place number 2 that we go to is Zip Dip, and that is located in Bridgetown/Dent/Western Hills.
The borders for all of these places are highly questioned.
More so Western Hills.
Yeah. I think you can firmly say that it's in Bridgetown.
Dent. I would consider that Dent. That part of Harrison Avenue is Dent.
Okay.
I guess. I don't know.
They opened in 1950, though the property was initially purchased in 1947. So descriptions are going to get a lot shorter for the rest of these places because Putz's is the only place that has like a legitimate history section on their website. All these other places either don't have a website or if they do, have a very limited about section. And it seems like Putz's has stayed in the family. It might be that these other places have not, but their names and locations have remained the same. But Zip Dip is very famous. Well, not very famous. Well, they're pretty famous for. They have a giant ice cream cone neon sign with a lightning bolt going through it that has been there since the 50s. So they have been able to keep the same sign the whole time they've been there. At one point, they were asked to take the sign down and everybody went crazy about it, so they got to keep it up. But I could not fully read the article about it on their website because it was like a scan of an article page. And when I tried to zoom in on it, it just got blurry. So it was not helpful. So they do soft serve in a lot of fashions. They also have floats. They change up what their dip tops are. They change up some of their like topping tops as well. They like to keep things fresh. And we go there a lot, mostly because it's on my way home from work.
Yeah. Well, you go there a lot and then you bring me home something.
Yeah. So usually I get a twist with a dip top or sprinkles, and then I get Joe a chocolate shake. So I will have finished my cone by the time I get home. And then I'm like, here, Joe, have a chocolate shake. Sometimes he has to share it with Lily, but now if he doesn't let Lily see it, she won't know what she's missing. We have to figure it out. But then when we all go together as a family, it's like 50-50 between whether he'll get a cone or a shake. So for the podcast, I got a vanilla with a blueberry dip top, which wasn't as good as I had hoped it would be, but it was still pretty tasty and it looked really cool too. And then I got Joe a chocolate shake because I stopped on my way home from work because I wanted ice cream. Camptono.
Location number 3 is Gold Top Dairy Bar. Is located in White Oak.
Yes.
And that is also one of those places where the borders change.
Yeah, I mean, you could say that it's like on the border of like White Oak, Mount Healthy,
Coleraine.
White Oak, Mount Healthy, and Coleraine. Like, there's a lot of little areas in there. I would for sure say that it's probably White Oak, though.
Montfort Heights, White Oak is used interchangeably as well.
Yeah, even though Montfort Heights is more south and White Oak is more north. White Oak is more based around White Oak Middle School, and Montfort Heights is more based around Montfort Heights Elementary, hence their names. Says the person who went to both of those schools.
I'm just saying they are used interchangeably. Wrong or right?
Yep. So Gold Top is known for its giant gold top. They have a big yellow roof that has Gold Top Dairy Bar on it in black letters. So it's very easy to see once you get through all the trees in White Oak. Because it's an old neighborhood. The trees are very big now. They also serve a variety of soft serve ice cream items. In addition, they sell food items. They have hot dogs, barbecue, nachos, pretzels, and some other sides. We didn't get any food. I used to go here a lot with my mom because we would go to the grocery store when it was IGA, and now I think it's some furniture store. Well, it might not even be a furniture store anymore. It was an IGA, and then it closed down, and then it became a furniture store, and I don't know whether or not it's still a furniture store. But they were one of the first grocery stores that actually had like the little kitty carts, because I would always look forward to getting a little kitty cart when we went there, and I would search one out.
How do you know it was the first?
Because none of the other grocery stores we went to had them. First stores that I went to. Because like Biggs didn't have kitty grocery carts. They just had big people grocery carts. Yeah, I used to go there a lot as a kid because we'd go on our way home from the grocery store. For the podcast, I got a twist with a birthday dip top. And Joe got a vanilla with chocolate sprinkles. And then we got Lily a kitty cone. And this was one of the first locations that we stopped at, even though it's not the first location on our list. And at this point, we determined that Lily no longer gets her own cone because she cannot eat enough of it or take control of the cone to not make a mess everywhere. We also learned that I cannot be left in charge of my own cone without making a mess, though it's really not my fault. So the birthday dip top was really yummy because it did taste like a birthday cake, but it was very thick, which I think melted half of my ice cream because it was still really warm. And then since it was it was, I want to say like 4 or 5 times the thickness of a traditional dip top. So it was a lot harder to break through to get to the ice cream underneath. So I made a bit of a mess. Joe will post photos as part of the campaign.
That's an understatement.
Hey, I didn't get any mess in the van, and we had baby wipes. It was okay.
So then the next soft serve place that we like to go to is the Goody Shop that is located in Mount Healthy. Mount Healthy proper.
Yes, Mount Healthy proper, because it is a lot more north. And by we like to go to this one, it's mostly me, because this usually ends up being near my Girl Scout activities. So it used to be between where I lived in camp, and then the location of where camp was changed, and it was between where I work in camp. So usually the week of camp, I would stop by the Goody Shop at least twice on my way to go to camp.
Per week.
Well, I mean, camp's only a week, but yeah. So I go a handful of times a year. I used to go a lot in high school because I had friends that lived in the area, so that's where they would go. So I would go there with them. They also have soft serve treats and food options like hot dogs, barbecue, and pretzels. They seem to have a little bit more of an extensive menu for food items. And being that their building is a little bit larger than some of the other locations, it does give them some more, like, I want to say the Goody Shop and Gold Top are some of the bigger footprint buildings, which does give them a bit more space to offer more food items. Putz is you can't necessarily fit a wide variety of food items. So they do have food items, but it's like, here are 3 different kinds of hamburgers, or we're just going to change up the toppings on them. And here are 4 different kinds of hot dogs with our different toppings on them. These guys are able to do like barbecue and burgers and all sorts of stuff. So for the podcast, because I was on my way home from work, Joe got a chocolate shake and I got a vanilla cone with cotton candy crunch coat, which was really sweet but very yummy and a little messy. I had to brush off the crunch coat bits from my shirt before I got into the van so I wouldn't make a mess. But I still made a little bit of a mess in the van.
And then the final location that we are going to talk about in this episode, and we could do a whole nother episode on soft serve because there are quite a few other locations.
And they're all delicious.
Yes. But in the interest of time, this will be the final location that we talk about. And it is called Cone Zone, and it is located in Cheviot.
I think you mean Cheviot.
Cheviot or Cheviot, if you want to make it fancy. And this soft serve place is within walking distance from Stephen and Hillary's house.
And by walking distance, we mean it's within like a 5-mile radius of their house because they go on ridiculously long walks, which is good. They're very healthy people. Their dogs also are very tired dogs, which is good too.
You said 5-mile radius?
Yeah.
Yeah, they literally go on a 5-mile walk in their neighborhood, their extended neighborhood, really.
They try to get us lost. So Stephen and Hillary go semi-frequently. We'll meet them there every once in a while. The last time we went walking with them, we debated going to Cone Zone. But since we were the only ones that had money, they said, yeah, I guess we don't have to go to Cone Zone. And we were also trying to make our walk count for actual exercise. We didn't want to completely kill it with stuff our faces full of ice cream. So this is a unique place because they actually have indoor seating. None of the places mentioned so far have indoor seating, but Cone Zone has a little tiny parlor inside. It's not like a ton of seating. What would you say? Maybe like 20 people?
I would say less.
Yeah.
And with COVID,
I'm not sure whether or not it's open this year. I don't think it was open last year because they have a drive-through window and a walk-up window.
I was going to say they do have a drive-through window.
Yeah. Gold Top and the Goody Shop also have drive-throughs. Putz's and Zip Dip do not. But Cone Zone's nice because they have that little parlor. So we've actually sat in the parlor with Stephen and Hillary before, but that was in the before times. Might have even been the super before times because was that before Lily too?
Probably. Because Lily, we didn't really do anything with Lily.
No, we had to keep her safe.
When she was born, and then we had to go to the NICU and all the ice cream shops closed.
This is true, yeah, because they don't open back up until, I didn't even mention this, Zip Dip's usually the first one to open of the season. They open early March.
And they typically close Labor Day.
Yeah, no, I think Zip Dip goes a bit later. Zip Dip's usually open longer than most of them. Putz's, I think, is one of the last ones to open in May.
April.
Or like late April.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then there's Cone Zone opens pretty late too. So we have not purchased anything specifically for the podcast there yet.
But they do good stuff.
They do. So we normally just get our usual soft serve.
Stephen and Hillary like Cone Zone because they have the blue ice cream that Kings Island has.
Yeah, so it's the same recipe as the blue ice cream at Kings Island.
But I think Putz's also has that.
Sometimes. I think Putz's changes out their flavor. Cone Zone usually has it.
Yeah.
Unless they run out, then they'll throw something else until they get it back again. But
that's why Stephen and Hillary like Cone Zone because of the blue ice cream.
They do have a Kings Island problem.
They are season ticket holders. Kings Island.
They are.
That is all about soft serve in Cincinnati, specifically the west side of Cincinnati, near our house.
Yep. You should visit all of these places. They're all delicious. They're all yummy. We do have our personal favorites, but that's mostly just because they are close to our house.
And now it is time for Joe's Dad Joke of the Week.
Yay.
So this is a participation joke.
Clara, get over here so you can participate. I don't want to have to condone this behavior.
Are you ready for this? Clara's sleeping.
I guess so, because she's still sleeping.
She's happy. Leave her be before she starts freaking out.
Our producer and our executive producer just sleep on the job all the time. Why? Also, right now, this is more funny than whatever your joke is going to be. Just throwing that out there.
I'm rolling my eyes at you as you roll your eyes at me. It's a continuous loop of eye rolls.
Oh my goodness. Let's just get this over with.
Okay, so knock, knock.
Who's there?
Ice cream.
Ice cream who?
Ice cream right now if you don't let me in.
Would you have happened to find that dad joke in that book of dad jokes that Lily got you this week?
I did. I got it from a book that you are instigating this behavior, so don't act like you don't like it.
Technically, it's Lily. Lily's the one that got you that book. Does Lily know that she got you that book? Yeah. I think she looked at it. She did carry it through Sam's. I don't think she dropped it on the floor. She might have, though. She held it in her cart and then paged through it.
That does it for this week's show. Thanks so much for listening. We want to hear from you. If you have ideas for a show topic, if you have comments about a previous show, maybe you liked it, maybe you learned something new, or perhaps there's some constructive criticism that you can throw our way. There are many ways to get in touch with us if you want to give us some feedback. First, you can send us an email at craftparentingpodcast@gmail.com, or you can follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Craft Parenting Podcast to get updates on when new episodes have dropped, see pictures of our adorable kids, and more.
If you like what you hear, please leave us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts or your podcatcher of choice. Make sure to share the show with your friends, family, your neighbor down the street. It really helps our show grow. You can also send us stuff to our awesome P.O. box, like craft supplies, or books, or yarn, or chocolate. Not soft serve ice cream, though. That won't hold up very well.
Apparently you can send popsicles through the mail, though.
Yeah, but I wouldn't have those sent to our P.O. box.
Yeah, don't send popsicles.
Please do not send perishable items to the P.O. box.
The address of our P.O. box and a whole lot more is available on our new, beautiful website that I designed.
How long can we call the website new? Is this going to be like the project? Yeah, they've always been new and they've been around for forever at this point.
And the address of that beautiful website is www.craftparentingpodcast.com. So go check it out.
That's where we will post the show notes. Plus, I'll be writing lots of blog posts about some of the stuff that does not make it into the podcast.
If you haven't already done so, make sure you subscribe to the show. We are listed on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and just about every podcast app out there. And with that, I'm Joe.
And I'm Caroline.
See you next time on the Craft Parenting Podcast.
We're going to get there. Did you not read the doc?
I did not read the doc.
Oh, my goodness.
I am reading the doc for the first time right now.
I might be getting slap happy. I might have gone from cranky to slap happy.
Well, hold it together for 2 more minutes.
Let me start a timer. Just start talking and I'll pull myself back together.